Hey WRIT300, I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the CRAP test. So CRAP stands for Currency, Reliability, Authority, and Purpose. So let's talk about each one of those and how you might decide whether or not your source is up to par. So the first one in the CRAP test, the C stands for Currency. So what you should do when you're looking at a source is ask yourself whether that information is from an appropriate time period. So that'll change depending on whatever your topic is. So if your topic is, let's say, breast cancer, that's something where the information and what we know about that topic changes really rapidly. So even what we knew 5 years ago might now be outdated. So you're going to need something really recent. If you're looking at, let's say, gravity, what we understand about gravity hasn't changed for a little while. Things have been added and we now understand more than we used to, but it's okay if you use a source that's maybe 10 or 20 years old. You might still get good information there. So think about look at the dates when the information was created and decide whether or not that's appropriate for the topic that you're looking at. So that's C, currency. The R in CRAP stands for reliability. So you want to determine whether or not your sources have reliable information in there. And you do that really by trying to figure out where that author got their information. Did they get their sources from, or do they list where they got their sources? So do they have citations or links back to the sources that they used to get their information? Or maybe they didn't use any outside information and their entire piece is all opinion and none of it has been researched. That might be okay if it's a really great person or a really credible person, but usually we'll try to steer clear of opinion and try to find only sources with good high quality information that comes from high quality sources. So try to figure out where the information is coming from and get the best information you can. The A in CRAP stands for authority. So look at who that author is and decide whether or not that author has the authority to write about that subject. So for example, if we go back to the high-speed train example that you worked with last week, think about whether or not who would make a good author for an article about high-speed trains. Maybe an urban engineer or a city engineer would be a credible person, someone who has the authority to write about high-speed trains, whereas someone who is interested in model trains and builds a lot of model trains in their basement, they might not have the authority to write about the topic in the same way. So try to figure out who that author is. You might Google their name, you might look to see if they have any credentials. All of these things can help you figure out whether or not it's the best person to get your information from. And then the P in CRAP stands for purpose. So for every source you look at, try to figure out what is the purpose of that source. So think about, why was that source made? It takes time and money and effort to make a web page or write an article or write a book. So think about, why did that person invest that time? Did they invest it because they want to entertain you? Or they want to persuade you to buy something, or they want to persuade you to believe something or change your mind on a topic. Maybe they just wrote it to inform, just out of the goodness of their heart. They want to inform you about that topic. So here's an example. Imagine you found, a silly example, imagine you found a web page with comparing maybe 4 kinds of cat food, right? And then on the side of that web page is a whole bunch of ads for Meow Mix. So think about, what do those ads tell you about the purpose of that web page? They just might be trying to sell you Meow Mix, pretending that it's a comparison of different types of cat food, but they really might be biased toward one of them. So purpose can be really tricky to figure out, and it can be hard to tell what the purpose of a source is, but use your skills, your detection, to try to figure out what they might be doing and why they made that information. So for every source you find and you consider using in your research, look at the CRAP test. So consider the currency, the reliability, the authority, and the purpose of that source before you decide whether or not you're going to use it in your paper.